hate yourself. Um, and people think you're wasting food. So you don't discuss it with people.
An emotionally heated royal scandal of the decade erupted from what started as a subtle, rather regular declaration from Buckingham Palace. For nearly 27 years, the cherished remains of Princess Diana have remained undisturbed in her private mausoleum. But now the royal family has shocked everyone with their stunning news about Princess Diana's burial, a hushed murmur just before a tempest. It all started subtly on a dreary Tuesday morning with a news release from the Royal Communications Office. With the announcement's release, at initially few people noticed, there was no press conference or live broadcast. Instead, it was a simple digital transmission bearing the faint embossed crest of Buckingham Palace in the header. The message was as solemn and formal as it was seismic. The majority of readers likely skimmed the opening words with an air of disinterest, anticipating yet another procedural update, maybe regarding Prince William's charitable work or the refurbishment of Kensington Palace. However, concealed within the text, concealed behind a mask of delicate language and emotional control, came a sentence that broke the silence like distant thunder. The royal household is now examining documents that might initiate an official investigation into the location of Princess Diana's grave in light of recent events. It was there, under control, chilly and deceitfully mild. But underlying those words there was a seismic shift, an indication that something long buried was being churned up anew, both literally and symbolically. On August 31st, it had been more than 25 years since the entire globe came together in shock and grief over her death. That was in 1997, a year that many Americans still remember clearly. The viewing of her funeral by more than 2.5 billion people worldwide was a watershed moment in human history. With those words, we were transported to a bygone era, dragged back into the mist of tragedy, suspicion, and unfinished mourning. The timing was quite shocking. What with King Charles going through cancer treatment and Prince William having a lot of new royal duties to handle, an unprecedented scrutiny of the monarchy. However, it was still present. The British monarchy was sliced like silk by a whisper in an official document. Instantaneous speculation ensued. For what reason could someone have taken such drastic action? Come to light any fresh proof? Did political pressure play a role, just a forensic outlier, or is there anything sinister at work here? Many people's long-standing doubts regarding the Paris crash, the mysterious individuals involved, and the discrepancies in the stories were reawakened by it, and the subsequent stillness. A lot of people took exception to the fact that it broke the serenity of a woman who had endured more hardship than most. Regardless of one's stance, though, there was consensus on one point. A change was on the horizon, an unexpectedly large event, disputes surrounding a funeral. It felt like time had frozen the morning after the news of Diana's death broke. Vigils by candlelight illuminated the night as if stars were falling to earth from all corners of the globe. On live television, people sobbed openly. Little hands held cuttings from the newspaper. Keeping their cool was a challenge for the news hosts. The princess's demise wasn't the only tragedy. Tragically, a symbol of generosity, defiance among royalty, and humanity encased in a tiara passed away. Her death was the spark that set off a chain reaction that has kept royal insiders and internet snoops talking. Westminster Abbey, St. George's Chapel, and other hallowed royal vaults steeped in centuries of pomp are common locations for the traditional interment rites of members of the British royal family. No such ceremony was bestowed upon Diana, who was married to the future king and mother to the next in line. The Spencer family's estate, Althorpe, has a little island in the center of an oval lake where her body was instead laid to rest alone, surrounded by trees. Yes, the location was serene and beautiful. For some, though, it was more akin to exile than a mark of distinction. Beyond the perimeter of the lake, there were no public entrances, guided excursions, or other means of access. Neither excursions nor direct access to the grave are available to visitors. All they can do is see the site from a distance. Although the burial is viewed as a serene and reverent location, there are those who feel that its seclusion imparts an air of mystique, as if the public's link to her was purposefully kept at arm's length. The choice was made to safeguard Diana, according to Charles Spencer, who was her younger brother at the time. His voice quivered as he spoke during the live eulogy that she deserved a quiet resting place, not a spotlight, a place where she can feel secure at last. Nevertheless, when we're alone, disputes were intensifying, filled out in response to a Freedom of Information request are newly declassified internal correspondences from 1997 that tell a different tale. Conflict is evident in letters written between royal staff and senior Spencer family members. Even if it wasn't in Westminster, the royal family allegedly desired a more conventional burial site that would have been more apparent. But Diana's troubled history with the organization was the reason the Spencers fought back. An even stranger entry from a diary, the princess allegedly revealed her burial plans months before to her passing, according to a close friend of hers. "I would rather not be left in that area if something were to happen to me," she allegedly wrote. "Wherever people may find me, I belong." She was laid to rest with unparalleled secrecy at that location, which happened to be Althorpe. The lake bed is protected from any unwanted visitors by a network of cameras, motion detectors, armed guards, and even some who are stationed underwater. The woman who formerly strolled freely through crowds is now shrouded in secrecy. Broke royal tradition by embracing the ill and the impoverished and shaking hands sans gloves. We were informed that this was done to protect people's privacy and dignity, and to prevent the spectacle from turning into a media extravaganza. But even that storyline is starting to fall apart as a result of new evidence. There were discrepancies in the time frame between the crash and the transfer of Diana's body, according to a secret French investigation that was reviewed in 2017 but never made public. Her return to Britain was so rapid that some routine autopsy procedures were omitted. There was a lack of toxicology samples. The lack of an impartial forensic examination prior to the sealing of the coffin, with lid no less, makes exhumation extremely difficult and perhaps harmful to the remains. Why the haste? This is the age-old conundrum. Some think the solution is in maintaining order, in the careful tango between the media and the monarchy. In the middle between the royal family's efforts to control the story and the Spencer family's efforts to protect Diana. Others have more sinister theories about why Diana may have been so secretive in the days before she died. For the simple reason that Diana had transcended her role as a mere royal. The firm saw her as erratic and perhaps harmful, but the people liked her nevertheless. Her alleged intentions to relocate to the United States and rebrand herself on a worldwide scale, her alleged relationship with Dodi Al-Fayed, and her humanitarian work outside of royal supervision. It was all a danger to the monarchy's authority over its most illustrious ex-member. Was Diana's burial at Althorpe an act of peace or an attempt to separate herself from the legacy she was creating? Just like her island, the truth is also kept hidden. And maybe, just maybe, that was someone's intention all along. Hidden within the water lies a mystery. In the course of a normal erosion control evaluation near the Althorpe Estate's decorative lake earlier this year, structural experts discovered something very unexpected. Sonar surveys were being carried out beneath the little artificial island in the middle of the lake, the very island where Princess Diana was laid to rest, as part of a long-planned coastline stabilization project. Initially, the engineers thought they had stumbled upon nothing more than structural reinforcement, maybe even relics of previous building that had served to shield the burial place from the gradual erosion caused by water. However, the facts demonstrated otherwise. Something much more intricate existed beneath the surface, buried in the stone and silt. No estate plans, burial records, or architectural logs kept since Diana, Princess of Wales's 1997 interment include a huge, deliberate, and most unnerving, sealed concrete vault. Both its appearance and its purpose were puzzling. The vault has an unusual shape, something more than just a box, a geometric oddity, a chamber inside a chamber that refused to conform to conventional wisdom. The results of the internal echo mapping showed that there are stacked cavities and organized spaces, implying not merely storage but also planning, accuracy, purpose. When local officials learned about the discovery, they became very concerned. However, the Crown stepped in before the news could spread. Under covert instructions, a group of forensic historians, archaeologists, and structural analysts of military grade were airlifted in to work with the royal family. First, they had to figure out what the vault was for, and second, they had to figure out whether it was structurally or historically dangerous, possibly in terms of one's fame. The crew arrived at a low-key internal statement for the palace after days of preliminary scans and covert night operations on the estate grounds. According to the burial objects catalogued in 1997, the contents of the vault do not match. The specific contents of the vault and the reasons behind its exclusion from all official records are closely guarded secrets, but the inference is unsettling. William and Harry drew back a bit. Even before it got out to the general population, the discovery caused tremors at the highest levels of the monarchy. Reports from inside the palace indicate that King Charles III personally decided to warn his sons. Neither scheduling nor filtering the calls through aides was done. According to those in the know, Charles personally contacted each of them, asking them to meet in Althorpe in a serious tone. The royal couple, William and Harry, made a stealthy arrival at the Northamptonshire estate inside 72 hours, right as dawn broke over the frost-lined lawn. The senior legal experts from the palace chambers and elite members of the Royal Security Unit escorted William as he arrived punctually. Now that Harry had flown in from the United States, he required a little extra time. He was apparently flown on a private jet a few hours later, with his security detail and another private counsel who had no prior connection to royal issues. No news outlets were informed, no claims were advanced. Behind them, the gates of Althorpe silently shut. I sat for about 7 hours. They stayed on the property and met behind closed doors with King Charles and Earl Spencer, who was both Diana's brother and the estate's caretaker. Generations of royal protocol have kept the contents of that meeting secret. However, something noticeable came out of that room. Whispers were spoken between two employees by a long-serving employee positioned near the side entrance to the estate church as the brothers departed. To all appearances they had encountered a specter. William's face remained expressionless, as if he were tormented. With a tight grasp on the SUV door, Harry's knuckles were white and his mouth clenched. Neither of them paid any attention to the handful of estate workers who had respectfully lined the way. The mood of the royal family altered at that moment. The bottom of the lake had been explored. Whatever it was, it brought the long-suspended brothers full circle, rehashing the royal announcement, a subject neither was ready to face again. The time is 4 o'clock. At exactly 2 p.m. GMT, the grand double doors of the media wing of Buckingham Palace swung open. Known for his unwavering devotion to the House of Windsor and his cold composure, senior royal spokesperson Sir Malcolm Withers stepped down, but even he seemed uneasy that day. Any subsequent utterance was burdened by the weight of history. His voice was restrained as he started. As part of our ongoing inquiry into certain documents recovered at Althorpe Estate, the official announcement of ongoing talks over the potential temporary unveiling of the tomb of Diana, Princess of Wales, has been made. The assembled press corps was hushed in shock. People let out gasps. Princess Diana's burial was the subject of a stunning disclosure by the royal family, which startled the world. No, this was more than that. The tremor is unprecedented, and it's unsettling. A potential of disrupting Diana's final resting place was being considered for the first time since that sad day in 1997, when the world observed her burial on a remote island within her family's ancestral estate. It was no longer just a rumor. Truly, it was just what had been discovered. Was this really about paying tribute to Diana after 27 years of relative quiet, or was there another factor at work? Although the palace declined to provide further details, rumors quickly circulated. Many thought it had something to do with her long-lost letters that might be stashed in a vault next to her grave. Some thought it had something to do with an object that wasn't supposed to be there, like someone had put it there on purpose, either in homage or to serve as a caution. Finally, DNA verification, the most alarming rumor, emerged from an anonymous source. There was an immediate impact. Was it about the most inconceivable things, like doubting paternity or maternity? Was there a connection to the royal family, facing adversity? One thing became very evident as the presentation came to a close and the camera feed cut. A spark amid the parched grass. This proclamation was more than a regal protocol. The tempest had hardly started. the connection to Paris was reopened. All eyes were back on Paris as the whispers of conspiracy, which had been dormant for years, suddenly burst into flames. Something more profound was brewing than reminiscence or the lingering effects of that fateful night in 1997. The inconsistent timeline was being reviewed once again. In the hours after the disaster, researchers, journalists, and digital detectives sifted through every piece of evidence, photograph, and decision. The French autopsy report, which was unusually short and missing in the details anticipated of a person of Diana's worldwide prominence, came under intense scrutiny. Adding to the mystery, French authorities have kept vital medical records secret from the public and independent forensic examiners even now. Why? How many secrets were they attempting to keep hidden? The decision to embalm Diana's remains within hours, before a thorough post-mortem could be completed in the UK, was arguably the most shocking discovery. Even that one action was cause for concern. In addition to hastening tissue breakdown, embalming masks several forensic indicators. As a prince or princess who was known to have meticulously recorded every step of their process, this unusually quick embalming was cause for suspicion. The coming forward legal and royal specialists are still not satisfied with any official explanation. It went against both royal protocol and legal procedure, making it more than merely unconventional. On top of that, it might have averted the discovery of crucial information altogether. Speculation that had previously circulated only in underground online communities has now broken into the public domain, with reports suggesting that Princess Diana's tomb could be unsealed for verification. An alarming amount of believability had been bestowed upon what had previously been brushed off as a wild theory. Suddenly, a single inquiry sounded like a siren, cutting through the din. What if the tomb does not contain her? Everything about the idea is off-kilter. It's unbelievable, unrealistic, and downright disgusting. The fast embalming, the sealed French records, the delayed identification, and the opposition to additional research all came together to make the unimaginable seem more plausible. A more sinister notion may have taken hold in the emptiness that followed the resurfacing of those voices. Who or what is she if she is not in the tomb? Is it worse that everything we've been told thus far is false? Speculation abounds. Unsettling truths emerge as royal family maintains steadfast quiet. The eerie hush around Princess Diana's tomb has led to a flourishing of speculation, as answers remain withheld. What was discovered beneath the tomb of Princess Diana? The finding of Princess Diana's missing personal journal is the most plausible and weighty notion among all the rumored possibilities. Rumor has it that Diana kept a private journal for decades, detailing her troubled marriage to Prince Charles, her interactions with the crown behind the scenes, her thoughts on royal protocol, and even her fears for her safety in the months leading up to her death. Royal insiders have long conjectured that the diaries vanished without a trace in the days after her passing. Its contents might be disastrous for the monarchy if it has now surfaced, buried with Diana, whether at her request or someone else's. Then there's the theory that makes people shudder, not because of its actual claims, but rather the implications it dared to draw. This story goes like this: under the one that the public knows contains Diana's body, there is a second coffin. There are some who think it holds her son's presents, letters, treasured jewelry, or personal belongings, while some go even farther, speculating that it may include records, decoys, or even proof that is too important to be let out. However, the most sinister interpretation of this holds that Diana's genuine bones were hidden away for a long time, and that the current location at Althorpe is only a pretense, a tragic but beautiful front. Skeptics inside the royal family have raised concerns about several issues, including quick handling of her remains, inconsistencies in the original burial, and the absence of official photographic record at crucial occasions. There are those who think the second casket might have been added at a later date, involved in a clandestine operation that was never meant to be revealed. The concept that someone tampered with the tomb after burial is perhaps the most distressing theory, since it is supported by tangible evidence. Reportedly, irregularities in the substructure beneath Diana's memorial location have been revealed by ground-penetrating radar and satellite photography. An individual with knowledge of the ground penetration team's inner workings
has revealed that a sealed vault was allegedly added after 1997. In cases where the burial vault was not initially intended, someone returned according to one anonymous disclosure. Why is the key question. No matter what the case may be, the royal curtain is still closed. I have not received any official comment, confirmation or rejection. In that empty space, people's wildest fantasies come to life, filling the air
With a mix of intrigue, terror, and an insatiable need to know what the monarchy is hiding, a problem for the Spencers. Unfortunately, one voice had persisted, really quiet. The name of the person is Charles Spencer. His position as Diana's younger brother and guardian of Althorpe Estate, her childhood home and burial site, has increased his influence in the eyes of the law. He must give his approval before any work can begin on the island in the middle of the ornamental lake on the estate, including any plans to open the tomb. Still, Spencer has remained mum, complete silence, not a word spoken in interviews or remarks given to the media. In private, though, it's a whirlwind of feelings. According to those in the know, Charles Spencer is struggling with a decision that goes beyond what is required by law or family custom. It goes to the heart of the vow he made to his sister before he passed away. His inner struggle was a moral crossroads of historic proportions, according to a long-standing family acquaintance. A rising tide of royal historians, legal specialists, and even members of the general public are demanding answers regarding Diana's death, autopsy, and final resting place, and they are all part of the movement for transparency. While remaining silent is a sacred act in and of itself, a holy site that Charles promised would be preserved unspoiled. Diana once said that this place was her lone sanctuary. It is a big burden. Royal formality and popular interest aren't the only factors at play here. This is really intimate for Charles Spencer. He has always felt that his sister was let down by society during her life, what with the press following her betrayal from people closest to her, and being devoured by a crown that never truly accepted her. Instead of a place of universal attraction, he saw her burial as a symbol of peace. He could only offer her something that belonged to her. He allegedly felt like letting the wolves back in and confided in a friend, so he decided to open it immediately. At the same time, another dynamic is fermenting within the palace walls. Reports indicate that Prince William has shown signs of being open to the idea of a controlled investigation. His beliefs in accountability and the importance of the truth, whatever it may be, withstanding rumors have been voiced behind closed doors. His aides have heard him say that Harry is still conflicted over whether Diana truly belonged to the people or to us. In spite of his tense connection with the monarchy and his new life across the Atlantic, he supposedly is afraid this would dishonor their mother's memory instead of honoring it. One of his sources said that we had already lost her. To be honest, I have no idea whether it's true or not. The lack of official direction, cryptic statements, or even a passing reference to the problem in his public appearances is something he hasn't done in years, which some see as diplomatic and others as a sign of fear. Undisturbed by human hands, the ancient stone of Princess Diana's tomb shines in the early spring dew. To what extent, though? According to sources close to the palace, the royal advisory body has given an inquiry committee 30 days to come up with a final conclusion. All possibilities, including non-invasive ground scans and a complete legal exhumation, are open during that time. The timer is about to go off. Surrounding Althorpe, embark on a serene journey. Dozens of mourners, some traveling from other lands and others from surrounding towns, have gathered. They congregate at the entrances along the lake's edge, and even in pontoons out on the lake. Still, nobody dared to set foot on the island. A few people light candles, and the quiet waters below reflect the flickering flames. Some others carry signs that say simple things: Diana forever, truth counts, let her rest, and a handful of them do nothing more than stand there silently. The island, which had housed more than a corpse for almost 30 years, was their fixed point of view. It had the sorrow of a whole nation,
the love of a mother, and an enigma that would never go away. One woman murmured through her sobs that we would always love her, and we would never stop seeking the truth. Worldwide, media organizations are getting ready for the effects. The entire media, from reporters covering the royal family at Buckingham Palace to sleuths on TikTok, is waiting for the one story that might change the course of royal history. But as the tomb's doors open, and the air within mixes with the outer air, everyone knows the status quo is about to collapse. Do you have any idea what the royal family could uncover if they dig up Princess Diana's grave? Leave a comment with your idea. Please join us in the next video. We appreciate you taking the time to see this one.